Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Juicebox Podcast.
Hello, I'm Eli. I'm a junior in high school living with type 1 diabetes.
If this is your first time listening to the Juicebox Podcast and you'd like to hear more, download Apple Podcasts or Spotify, really any audio app at all. Look for the Juicebox Podcast and follow or subscribe. We put out new content every day that you'll enjoy. Want to learn more about your diabetes management? Go to juiceboxpodcast.com up in the menu and look for Bold Beginnings, the Diabetes Pro Tip series, and much more. This podcast is full of collections and series of information that will help you to live better with insulin. If you're looking for community around type 1 diabetes, check out the Juicebox Podcast private Facebook group, Juicebox Podcast, Type 1 Diabetes. But everybody is welcome. Type 1, Type 2, gestational, loved ones, it doesn't matter to me. If you're impacted by diabetes and you're looking for support, comfort, or community, check out Juicebox Podcast, Type 1 Diabetes on Facebook. Nothing you hear on the Juicebox Podcast should be considered advice, medical or otherwise. Always consult a physician before making any changes to your healthcare plan. I've got my morning routine down, and now I'm optimizing my nighttime routine with AG1. This episode of the Juicebox Podcast is sponsored by AG1. Learn more at drinkag1.com/juicebox. Later in the episode, I'm going to tell you about AG1 and AGZ. Z like sleep. You got it? This episode of the Juicebox Podcast is sponsored by Omnipod 5. Omnipod 5 is a tube-free automated insulin delivery system that's been shown to significantly improve A1C and time in range for people with type 1 diabetes when they've switched from daily injections. Learn more and get started today at omnipod.com/juicebox. At my link, you can get a free starter kit right now. Terms and conditions apply. Eligibility may vary. Full terms and conditions can be found at omnipod.com/juicebox. Today's episode of the Juicebox Podcast is sponsored by the Dexcom G7, and the Dexcom G7 warms up in just 30 minutes. Check it out now at dexcom.com/juicebox.
Hello, I'm Eli. I'm a junior in high school living with type 1 diabetes.
How old are you?
I'm 16 right now.
Nice. I want everybody to know that we do a little preamble before we start the podcast. I say things. I should probably do it one time so people know. But I ask some questions, make sure you don't have any questions. I love the way young people do it. You have any questions? No, I'm good. You sure you? Yeah, I'm fine. Sometimes people get on, they're like, well, I'm a little worried about this and I'm wondering about that. And I'm like, oh, it's just a podcast. We're not moving everyone to Mars. Like, it's going to be okay. So it doesn't need that much attention. Eli, that's very cool of you to do this. I appreciate it. What made you want to come on the podcast? How'd you find out about it?
I was introduced to this podcast by my parents because they heard about it probably through Instagram or Facebook. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they told me about the podcast and figured, like, I didn't know that it could be an opportunity, but I reached out knowing that hopefully my story would be interesting and worth sharing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy to be on here.
Very cool. Tell me a little bit about you being 16. Your parents come to you and say, like, hey, I found a podcast I want you to listen to. You don't just immediately think they must be out of their mind. There's no way you're going to listen to the podcast that they want you to.
Yeah, well, I'm not really a big podcast listener, which maybe you could expect. I feel like this podcast is different because, well, obviously it's something that I'm very passionate about and I care about and something I live with. So it definitely made me more interested in this podcast. And I spent time listening to some episodes, especially the Noah Gray episode, because I play football. So
okay,
I just started listening to it and it's really interesting. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. It's nice of you to take your parents' suggestion to heart too, and not just assume that they must not know what they're talking about. But yeah, young people aren't listening to podcasts, right?
No, it's not really a big thing at least between me and my friends.
I wouldn't imagine. What do you guys do? YouTube more? Where do you get your
Mostly YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, the basic social medias now.
The core social medias, that you old people don't know about. I'm going to show off for a second. I have a premium YouTube account. I use YouTube so much that I don't want to watch the ads, and it's worth $20 a month for me not to do it. So
that's how I feel about Spotify. I listen to music all the time, so it's definitely worth having unlimited skips and no ads.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Okay. So how old were you when you were diagnosed?
I was diagnosed when I was 13 years old in April of, I think it'd be 2021 or 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that you don't know. It's kind of awesome.
I mean, it's obviously I know what day. It was actually April Fool's Day, which is a little bit ironic within itself, but
yeah. Well, that's why you know that part.
Yeah, but I know that I've been a type 1 diabetic for 4 years, but it's not always the first thing I'm always thinking about when it comes to, it's part of my identity, but it's not, what defines who I am.
Yeah. So Eli, if you and I met somewhere, let's say I was at I don't know, would you say you were 16?
Yeah.
Let's say I was a cute 16-year-old girl. We're play acting now, and we're out somewhere, and I'm like, oh, hey, Eli, tell me about yourself. What would you tell her?
I feel like I would talk mostly about that I play sports, that I love people that are funny. I don't know at what point I'd mention that I'm a type 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think once I get to know them a little bit more and I can trust them a little more, but it's not something that I'm afraid to share.
Okay. What do you mean trust? Why would it take trust to share with them that you have type 1?
Well, I feel like a lot of people don't really know what type 1 is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've obviously heard about diabetes, but they don't know. And that could either lead to like awkwardness between us, especially if like I want a relationship to foster. But I feel if I'm able to trust them, that relationship would foster either way, no matter what I tell them. So them being able to understand what type 1 diabetes is or not, and give me the opportunity for like teach them about it.
Yeah.
Then I think that adds a lot more.
You just talked about fostering a relationship. Are your parents therapists?
No.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. My school was big on kind of community engagement. So I feel like I'm surrounded by a lot of people trying to build personal connections, I guess.
Wow. And it's sticking to you.
Yeah, it definitely is.
It was pretty awesome just now. You're like, we're trying to foster relationships. I'm like, what is this kid? What's going on here? So you think that that's I'm sorry, I know this is probably not what you thought we'd talk about, but you believe that your school is helping you to think more deeply about personal relationships?
In a way, they encourage community engagement, and it's a smaller school. So I've been with the same friends since like kindergarten. So I've definitely had a lot of time the school gives me opportunity to get to know people a lot.
I see. Okay. So you have some long held close friends that you've had for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Those people know all about your diabetes?
Yeah. I would say anyone who I know for like more than a day knows about my diabetes, either because they ask about my alarms or they see my Dexcom on my arm. And then at that point, can't really avoid it. But
if you have some romantic interest in that person, then you think it would take longer. I know it's a weird word, but it would take longer for you to share that stuff.
I think it'd be the same. It depends. Like if they notice it before it would come up in a conversation.
Yeah. So you wouldn't make any effort to hide it?
No, definitely not.
Okay. Do you have devices or are you MDI? How do you do your diabetes?
Yeah, I have a Dexcom G7 that I normally like to keep on my arm. Mm-hmm. And then I have the Omnipod that I normally like to keep on my stomach.
Okay. Let's go back to being diagnosed. So I like that you're not exactly sure how old you were, but you were probably 13-ish. And do you recall how it manifested? How, were you sick? Did your parents notice something about you? How did all that work?
Yeah, I remember it was right after spring break for us, for my school. And we went on a ski vacation to Vermont. And I remember always being extremely thirsty. That was one of the first things that always sticks out to me that I remember. Obviously, I didn't know that could be a sign for type 1, but I would always go to the bathroom. And then my parents noticed that I was always kind of cranky and lethargic. And they at first assumed that's just what a normal teenager is going to be. But I went for my physical and we mentioned this to the doctor. And they took my blood sugar and did all those tests. And I remember later that day, I was playing Minecraft with my friends on my computer in 7th grade or 6th grade. And my dad comes in and tells me, "Can you hang up the phone? Can we talk about something?" And he tells me basically the news that I could be a type 1 and that we have to go to Children's Hospital, which is a hospital around us. And I went there on March 31st and then spent the night into April 1st in the hospital.
Did that ruin Minecraft for you?
No, I mean, I don't really play much anymore, but
I don't know if you had like a bad experience with it. Now you're like, oh, geez.
it's kind of more of a funny memory because like cannot be more unrelated.
Do you wonder, you're too young to wonder, like if your dad stood outside of that door and thought like, when am I going to say this to him? Like, how's he going to remember this? Or if he just blasted and he was like, oh, we got to go. You have diabetes.
He's definitely as like nice about it as he could be. Like because he also didn't really know too much like about it at that point. Like, and like neither did either of my parents. So
okay,
they were kind of going through it the same way I was.
I see. When is the first time you think, and it wasn't in that moment, but when do you think you start, I don't know, coming to terms with the idea that something happened and it's not going to go backwards? It's going to be like this now.
Yeah. I remember it was the first night I came back from the hospital and my grandparents came over and we were all eating dinner. And this was before I got it's before I had a pump. Mm-hmm. And I did have a Dexcom on my arm, but so I was able to continuously like see my sugars. But we had sushi for dinner, which wasn't probably the brightest, especially because my numbers still weren't 100% in range or in control. And I remember the sushi didn't help that. I skyrocketed. I remember pricking, and I went for a walk with my mom after just to talk and to help because like we read that would help like lower blood sugar. And I remember talking to her about how there's actually no way to go back now. And I think it didn't take me long to realize how much my life was going to change, but I probably assumed that it was going to change more than it actually did.
Your worry was bigger than the reality?
Yeah, like thinking about it now.
Yeah.
But I think it makes sense because I didn't really know anything about it at the time.
Sure.
I didn't have really any friends that were diabetic, so.
Right. No, you just kind of
new to me.
Imagine the worst. But I mean, it's a good takeaway that, you know, not to worry too much until you really know what it is you're worrying about, right? Like it's,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. How long have you been listening to the podcast?
I haven't been listening to the podcast for too long, but as soon as I found out about this opportunity, I listened to the Noah Gray podcast and I tried my best to listen to as many as possible. But
do you like more management stuff or you like conversations with people that you find interesting?
I think conversations with people are more interesting because especially people that are older than me, because I get to see like either how they handled it when they were my age or as they got older. So it gives me like a sense of what I'm like going to have to do when I get older.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I do. I have two younger siblings. I have a younger sister that's a freshman in high school and a younger brother who's in 7th grade.
Any of you have other autoimmune issues besides type 1 diabetes, like celiac? No, thyroid?
None of us do. And I don't know that anyone in my family really did either.
Okay. You're not related to anybody who has type 1 that you know of?
No. Okay. Yeah.
Both sides, mom's side, dad's side?
Yeah, both sides. My entire family, there was no medical history of type 1.
Does that make you feel alone in ways, or how does it strike you?
I don't know. It makes me feel special. Like, I don't think of it as a negative thing at all. It makes me unique. So that's how I like to think about it.
Explain to me the parts of your personality that allow you to think of this positively.
Well, it gives me more opportunities to benefit, especially like I noticed within my health and understanding nutrition. I feel like a lot of people would never really understand how carbs and sugars kind of work with your body the same way that I will.
Yeah.
I think that gives me an advantage when I'm trying to eat healthier or when I'm working out. I feel like I understand how my body reacts to certain things more than other people would.
Why do you care about that though at your age? You know what I mean? Like, you know, other kids, like that's not a thing everybody would care about. Today's episode is brought to you by Omnipod. We talk a lot about ways to lower your A1C on this podcast. Did you know that the Omnipod 5 was shown to lower A1C? That's right. Omnipod 5 is a tube-free automated insulin delivery system, and it was shown to significantly improve A1C and time in range for people with type 1 diabetes when they switched from daily injections. My daughter is about to turn 21 years old, and she has been wearing an Omnipod every day since she was 4. It has been a friend to our family, and I think it could be a friend to yours. If you're ready to try Omnipod 5 for yourself or your family, use my link now to get started. Omnipod.com/juicebox. Get that free Omnipod 5 starter kit today. Terms and conditions apply. Eligibility may vary. Full terms and conditions can be found at omnipod.com/juicebox. The Dexcom G7 is sponsoring this episode of the Juicebox Podcast, and it features a lightning fast 30-minute warm-up time. That's right. From the time you put on the Dexcom G7 till the time you're getting readings, 30 minutes. That's pretty great. It also has a 12-hour grace period, so you can swap your sensor when it's convenient for you. All of that on top of it being small, accurate, incredibly wearable, and light. These things, in my opinion, make the Dexcom G7 a no-brainer. The Dexcom G7 comes with way more than just this. Up to 10 people can follow you. You can use it with type 1, type 2, or gestational diabetes. It's covered by all sorts of insurances. And this might be the best part. It might be the best part. Alerts and alarms that are customizable so that you can be alerted at the levels that make sense to you. Dexcom.com/juicebox. Links in the show notes. Links at juiceboxpodcast.com to Dexcom and all of the sponsors. When you use my links, you're supporting the production of the podcast and helping to keep it free and plentiful.
Well, I care about my health a lot, obviously. And I know that being in shape is obviously important. And I play sports, I play football, and I run track. So keep myself like at the best like performance level that I can be makes me not only like feel better, but helps me perform.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been playing sports? Since you were little?
Yeah, my entire life.
Which ones do you prefer? Like if I took all of them away except one, which one would you keep?
Football, for sure.
Football? What position?
Yeah. I play receiver and DB.
Okay. You're lean. You can run.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else does your body style lean into? Basketball? What else do you do?
No, definitely not basketball. I'm a little bit shorter, but I'm a sprinter, so I'm pretty fast. And I feel like I have good hands. I can catch well.
Yeah. You don't mind the hitting?
No, I like it.
You like it?
It's fun. Yeah, that's what makes football and not any other sport.
Is getting to like smack somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives me a chance to take out some pent up frustration.
Would you prefer to catch a ball and get hit or watch somebody catch a ball and hit them?
That's a good question.
Yeah, right, because there's the excitement of catching the ball and the idea that you could score, but you're going to get popped, or the other side of it where you get to kind of take out your frustration on somebody. Yeah. So go ahead. Which is better?
I think I like catching and then hopefully getting a chance to score. I mean, I like being in control. So if I got the ball in my hands, then I can hopefully either dodge that hit or make a play.
Mm-hmm. It's actually very telling about your personality. It all lines up with your personality.
Yeah.
You're young. You don't know that yet, but we'll figure it out as we go. Why are you so nice? I end up asking people this all the time. Did your parents do an incredibly good job? Are they missionaries? Like, why are you so thoughtful at 16?
Well, I guess my parents have always taught me like being nice is the best way to like go through life. There's no like, why wouldn't you be nice when you can be?
Right.
Like even when you're frustrated, it's just important that like being nice is the top priority. And because that will only take you further in life. If like you would so much rather be friends with someone who's nice or have a connection with them or a long-term relationship if they're nice than if they're mean, which is like, seems like it's common sense, but I feel like actually applying that every day is a little bit more challenging.
Yeah. But how about your brothers and sister? Is anybody a problem? Or you got like, you know what I mean?
No one's a serious problem. I mean, we get into our fights and stuff like every sibling pair does, but I don't feel like any of us are a serious problem.
If I asked them about being kind, do you think they would say something similar?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think especially my sister would care so much about being nice. My brother, who's a little bit younger, is still a little bit more hyper, but he definitely thinks the same way as I do.
Okay. All right. Do your parents model this to you? Like, do you see your parents being similar? Are they kind people in general?
So, yeah, definitely my mom. She's probably the nicest person. So I've never seen her be mean to someone else in any case, really.
Not even to your dad?
Well, I feel like that's different.
It is different. Do both of your parents work or no?
Yeah, my dad he works kind of within the government in the patent office, and my mom, she's a elementary school teacher.
Oh, your mom's a teacher. Okay. All right. All this makes sense now. All right. I'm good. What makes you want to come on the podcast? Like, what did you think when you thought, like, there's an opportunity here, or I can, what? You all know that I drink AG1 every morning. So I'm excited to let you know about something new from AG1. It's called AGZ. AGZ helps to improve your sleep quality and supports the central nervous system. Not only does it help with your sleep quality optimization, but it will help you to fall asleep and wake up refreshed. This episode of the Juicebox Podcast is sponsored by AG1. And if you're interested, check out AG1 and AGZ with my link, drinkag1.com/juicebox. Start taking your sleep seriously with AGZ. Head now to my link, drinkag1.com/juicebox to get a free welcome kit with the flavor of your choice that includes a 30-day supply of AGZ and a free frother. A frother? What is that, like a whisk? Drinkag1.com/juicebox to find out what a frother is. And did you know that AG1 now comes in different flavors? It does. 4, in fact: original, citrus, berry, and tropical. Drinkag1.com/juicebox. Links in the show notes. Links at juiceboxpodcast.com.
This podcast, I don't know, it made me feel like that I can share my story that I know people might benefit from. Like, I know the podcast is directed towards families that either just are going through diagnosis, are looking for advice. And I feel like I live with it for a decent amount of time now. And I feel like that it's definitely affected my life. And I feel like it's important to share how, and that it could actually end up helping people. And I feel like this is one of the best ways to kind of get that out there.
Okay, Eli, then what's your story?
I feel like my story is just trying to connect all like aspects of my life into just building my character to like what I want it to be, and knowing that I'm in control. So I feel like my story is surrounding trying to be the best person I can despite my situation, and not letting like other people's actions define who I am or what I do.
Yeah. Are there specific actions from others that come to mind when you say that?
I don't know. I can't really name any specific things that people might say or do, but it's more of a collective, either opinion, like a collective opinion on me, or something that I identify as a whole, kind of, or a community that I'm a part of, kind of not letting like a stereotype define me.
Yeah. You ready for a deeper question?
Sure. Hit me.
Do you think that's how some people think about you, or do you think that's your concern about what they're thinking?
I think it's different from person to person.
Yeah.
That some people will just categorize, for example, all diabetics as people who couldn't manage themselves or lost control of their eating, which obviously that could be because they're uneducated in the genre. But I also think that with some people that I want to impress more, I will be more conscious of how they think of me versus how they think of something like a category that I'm a part of.
Okay. So you're worried that people will have preconceived notions of you before they even meet you or get to know you.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that necessarily worried about that, but always in the back of my mind, especially when I'm maybe introducing myself and I'm like, what does this person know about me already? What do they know about how I act and how I feel?
Or what do they misunderstand about diabetes that they're going to apply to me now?
Yeah, exactly.
And so you live your life in a way that becomes less possible because you're out front with concern for your own health, positivity, activity, and sharing with people. So you kind of try to be ahead of it to take away their opportunity to misunderstand.
Yeah, I think that, like avoiding misunderstanding is what's going to help see a bigger picture that either I'm trying to achieve or trying to talk to them about, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Is it frustrating to have to do that? Because without diabetes, would you really need to do that?
I feel like not to the same level. So in a sense, that's frustrating. But I feel over time, I've definitely learned how to deal with it when talking to people, and how certain people will react, especially people that I've known for a longer time, when something happens and I know how they'll react to it versus someone I've never talked to before. And I kind of have to start with basics, and they ask questions about my diagnosis or what are signs that I might be diabetic. And it's kind of more basic when it comes to teaching people. But people that I know, I feel like I've learned how to adapt to their questions or their reactions.
Do they mostly have the same questions and reactions?
Like the same questions and reactions to people that don't know.
Are the things that you run into out in the world, whether it's with your friends or with people you don't know, are the things that you hear repeated like over and over again, or do you sometimes hear new questions?
Yeah, I feel like there's like a basic set of questions that everyone asks, especially when they first learn that I'm diabetic. And normally it comes with like an I'm sorry first, like I'm sorry for you.
Oh.
And then it will follow with questions about like, what was your diagnosis like? Can you eat sugar? Very like basic questions that someone who's uneducated in diabetes would ask.
Yeah. Does that bother you that people ask you that over and over?
No, especially because I like try to understand where they're coming from. Like I might have been the same way before I was diagnosed. Like I could have been thinking the same stereotypes about old diabetics. And so I can't always put like a blame on them. It's not necessarily their fault.
Yeah. What do you think 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you'll say? Do you think you'll be like, no, it's okay, I would misunderstand too? Or do you think you'd be like, I'm sick of this?
I feel like eventually I'll get sick of it, but I'll try to turn it into like good humor. Like either I'll make a joke out of it or try to make people laugh or either like push their buttons a little bit.
Yeah, I gotcha. What did you enjoy about Noah Gray's interview?
He gave great advice related to life with football. And I've like definitely tried applying it to my life with football. And he also gives good advice on how to deal with it kind of socially, because he talked about his diagnosis and his experience in the hospital, and that in a way kind of connected to mine because his entire family didn't really know what was going on, and in the same way that happened to my family.
Okay.
So it felt nice having to like a connection, you know?
This is interesting. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that are going to seem odd, but stick with me, okay? Are you or your family particularly religious?
We're Jewish. We identify as Jewish, and we're not super religious, but it's definitely part of our identity.
Oh, Eli, this is even more interesting now. Wait do you see where the rest of my questions go? When you think about the interview you listened to with Noah, do you think of it as being particularly a religious conversation?
I remember some of his answers were related to God and Christianity and having trust in God, which is a little bit different for me. But I think that it's just I feel like it's someone else's opinion. Like, who am I to judge about that? And I still listen to it, and I listen to what else he has to say also, and try to pick apart what other important information he shared.
I think this is awesome. And I love that you brought him up organically and we got to talk about it, because I also thought his conversation was really good. I loved how I thought he was talking about being active with type 1 and giving like real life examples and being honest. Like, you know, when he says, for instance, like, you know, if the game goes into overtime, I might be in trouble a little bit because his system really works for 4 quarters of football.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And at the same time, I heard back from some people that were like, wow, that guy talked about God a lot. And I thought, oh, I didn't like really notice. I mean, I did not notice that I'm not an idiot, right? But like, I never, like when I was talking to him, I never thought like, oh, this seems like a sermon. And at the same time, I don't have any religious holdings. So like, you know, but I'm also like you, like, I just think everybody should just do the thing they like.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty live and let live person. But it's interesting to hear you. Like, there was part of me that wondered, you're kind and you're thoughtful, and for your age especially. And I kept thinking like, oh, well, the reason he liked Noah, the reason he brought it up is they're probably both Christians and he probably really related to what he was saying. But then when you talked about what you found important about his conversation, it had nothing to do with that. And you blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I see it. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Thank you for those compliments. But I feel like what he had to say was more valuable relating to type 1 more than anything.
I agree. Yeah, I think so too. But that's really great to hear. And you don't have to thank me for that. It's just a conversation. Yeah, I mean, if every time I say something awesome to you, you thank me, it would just be you thanking me for an hour because I'm awesome constantly. Eli, you said you like funny people. Am I one of those people or not particularly to you?
No, yeah, you're pretty funny. I'll give it to you.
I appreciate it. I don't know where, like, how young. I don't know where my bullshit stops working. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't been able to pick up on much, so you must be doing a good job.
Oh, awesome. Good. Thank you. Are you the funny person in your group or is there somebody else?
I'd like to think I'm one of the funnier, but I think my friend group as a combination is pretty hilarious.
Yeah. That's awesome. When I made up earlier that, you were talking to some cute girl, did an actual person pop into your head?
No.
No.
Yeah,
Interesting.
you're putting me on the spot here, but no.
Yeah. Are you dating?
Not right now, no.
Do you want to?
It's on my mind, but it's not something that's a top priority.
Okay. Have you thought about how that will diabetes will integrate into your dating situation when it starts to happen? Is that like a outright concern or thought for you right now, or is that not something you're worrying about?
I feel like it's definitely not a concern, but I feel like getting into more like intimate relationships, I feel as if it'll be more important to bring it up because obviously I'll be with them more. So they would be surrounded by more. I bet they'll have more questions, and giving them more explanation and have them have a better understanding will only like add more.
Mm-hmm. Do a lot of your friends have girlfriends and boyfriends, or is that not a thing at your age right now?
A couple of my friends do. It's definitely a thing in high school, but some people do, some people don't.
Yeah. Do you think it's really about relationships, or do you think it's more like social and just having that being, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you think it's like, I don't mean performative, but maybe I do. What do you think? Like, do you think some people are just like, I want to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend and it's a thing I show off? Or do you think they actually enjoy the time they're spending together?
Probably depends on their relationship, but some are definitely, I feel like performative is a good word to use for that. I feel like some relationships are a bit more performative, but then also some people actually do really like or love their partner. So
yeah, you see it going both ways.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
definitely.
Gotcha. When you hear older people talking about your generation and they feel worried about them, do you know what the hell they're talking about? Older people are worried that you guys are on your phones too much, that, your self-confidence lacks, that people are more depressed at your age now. Like all these things that you hear talked about in the zeitgeist. I feel like I could use zeitgeist with you. You seem like a pretty smart kid. Like all these things that are kind of out in the world and everything. Do you think those are real concerns? Or do you think that's just old people looking back and seeing and misunderstanding who you guys are as a whole?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some misunderstanding because our generation is extremely different, definitely with technology.
Mm-hmm.
Other generations didn't necessarily get AI. We're not necessarily behind or kind of screwed, but I think we're going to learn how to integrate better than anyone else, which is going to be kind of the best advantage we're going to get.
You brought it up, so I'll keep going with AI. When you think about AI, do you think, oh, it's going to kill us all?
No, definitely not. I think AI is a great thing. It helps so many people, not just within school, but I know there's integration into health, and AI is taking over the world, but not in a bad way.
So if I said to you, I could easily bring on some person here to tell you that like we're going to have to build more data centers and knock down trees for power plants, and we're going to need way more electricity. And is that not a thing you would think about? Probably.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know 100% how AI works, but I mean, I know it's horrible for the environment. So obviously that's a concern, especially with global warming. But over time, there's going to be better ways to integrate it, and people are going to learn how to make it more environmentally friendly.
Okay. See, that's what I wanted people to hear. I wanted them to hear a young perspective because I'm an older person, but like it's a big bet to make, right? Thinking globally. But I generally believe that too, that, things improve and we tend to figure out how to mitigate the bad parts of them as we go. Like part of me thinks that sitting here saying like, well, AI is going to like ruin everything. Like I'm sure there was somebody back then, like with a horse who was like, this car is going to ruin everything. You know what I mean? Or this thing is going to, it changes it for your perspective on the planet and on life. Because you're going to run into something too one day. It sounds crazy, man. But like 20 years from now, something's going to happen and you're going to be like, I'm worried about this. And if you can step back far enough, you'll realize it's just different than what you're expecting. A lot of your worry and concern will be for nothing most of the time. But it doesn't mean it's not worth thinking about or, again, trying to like plan for, or mitigate somehow. To go back to just the idea of using it, you're 16. My daughter is now in college, right? And she had a professor tell her class the other day, I know you're hearing people say, don't use AI, it's cheating, but you better be using it. And I want you to use it. How is it being talked about in high school?
For my school, it's a very strict no policy related to writing essays for us or direct copy and pasting from ChatGPT into homework assignments.
Sure.
But there's definitely some uses for it, like to help study, or if there's a concept I don't necessarily understand after a longer or harder class, I'll go home and I'll have it explain it to me at a simpler level until I can understand it that the class wants me to.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it'll help me make flashcards for finals or any vocab quizzes. So there's definitely some uses, but the schools are pretty strict on, at least high schools in my area are pretty strict on using it to submit homework or write essays for you. They don't want AI doing the work, but using AI to help you get to do the work, I think is okay.
I think that's the balance we're looking for too. And do you succeed at that, or do you use it and, quote unquote cheat?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't cheat because they'd catch us and the consequences would 100% not be worth it. But I feel like I do a good job of integrating it into my studying.
Okay, that's awesome. And do you think that that's, generally speaking, everyone's opinion, or do you think there are a lot of people using it incorrectly?
I think there's some people using it incorrectly, but I know most people are using it just to help them study and kind of do the same things that I'm trying to do with it.
That's what you're hearing from friends. You don't have a lot of friends who are like, oh my God, I found a way around it. I'm cheating like hell with this thing.
Well, there definitely are some things like that where people use it to make shortcuts, but I know none of us, I can speak for most people, none of us use AI to directly submit work.
When I was in school, there were things I was good at and things that I wasn't. And the things that I wasn't good at, apparently talking is one of them, Eli. But the things that I weren't, why can't I find the connecting word? Anyway, the things that I struggled with, I would have just skipped. I wouldn't have taken the time to cheat. And I wonder if even that isn't valuable for somebody. I would have just taken a poor grade. I wouldn't have cheated to get better. But maybe now people are going to be like, look, I don't really understand this, but I can ask this thing a couple of questions. It's going to tell me the answer. Hopefully they'll read it. Maybe it'll bring them a little closer to it. Maybe even the poor side of this might have some benefit. I have no idea. It also could end up being a crutch for people, and they don't learn a damn thing because they're not actually learning anything. But again, you said it a couple of times in this one already, I think that's going to be a person to person outcome. It's not going to be the same for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Eli, do you have any pets?
I do. I have a dog.
I'm watching right now while I'm talking to you. I don't know how much of this you listen to, but I have a couple of chameleons. I have a blue Ambanja panther chameleon, and he eats so strangely. Most of them just the tongue shoots out and they grab the bugs. Yeah. So, I have one, tongue shoots out, grabs the bugs, chews it up, swallows it, he's done. I have another one. She's an assassin. I don't even know if she chews, honestly. But the third one, the blue Ambanja, who I got from Fram's Cams, who ironically has a type 1 connection, but that's neither here nor there. He grabs the bugs and then squeezes them in his mouth and holds them for such a long time before he chews them up. And I just want to say it's so fucking creepy. It's so, and right now he has a hornworm in his mouth. It's the big green worms that you might see on a tomato plant. I don't know where you live. You maybe never saw a tomato before.
Definitely have.
He's just pinching it and just looking around the room to make sure that nothing's going to murder him while he's trying to eat. If I had 5 seconds where I could talk to this thing and it would believe me and it could understand me, if I had a magic wand kind of a situation, I'd be like, dude, tell me why do you do that? Why don't you just eat the damn thing? I just want to know so badly. He's just eyeballing me and squeezing this worm. It's not great. He's very pretty though. So, and he's active and he's fun to watch. Nevertheless, that's not what we're talking about. I actually want to talk a little more about AI. Do you have anticipation that it's going to be involved in your diabetes care moving forward?
I think 100%. I think that there's already some, I don't know if it's technically AI, but the ability for the Dexcom talk to the pump and then the pump understand what the Dexcom is showing, then using that information to then auto correct for me or adjust my basal and bolus. I think that's very interesting. And that might not technically be considered AI, but I think that anything automated is definitely getting further along within medical ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the incorporation of AI is only going to take that so much further.
Right. What do you want to do when you, I was going to say grow up, but you're pretty grown up, but what do you want to do when you're out in the world?
I'm actually interested in being an endocrinologist.
Are you?
Yeah, I think that's something I would love to do.
Is that since your diagnosis or?
Yeah, definitely. I had no interest in many things, but like I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. But once I got diagnosed, it kind of slowly crept into like the back of my mind.
Yeah. No, I mean, you were playing Minecraft before you were diagnosed.
Yeah.
You were building a thing for your cows. You weren't really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the experience that you've had that's moved you towards that?
Having a good endocrinologist myself is really something that kind of gave me an idea, and then kind of slowly understanding more about how an endocrinologist can help others.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I'm really interested in. Over time, I've spent, like last summer, I did some research in a lab. I did like an internship with MedStar related to endocrinology. And while like I was kind of held back, they wouldn't let me do too much with patients, I was able to sit in on some doctor's appointments, and it really gave me more like perspective on what being an endocrinologist is like.
Mm-hmm.
And it only inspired me more to want to be one.
How are you with your STEM stuff? Science, math, you good?
I feel like I'm more of a STEM guy than I am a humanities. So it's that plays into it.
Okay, that's good. So it leans a little more into your strengths.
Skill set.
Yeah. How did you end up with the opportunity with MedStar?
I have a friend whose mom kind of has connections to MedStar. So that just like reaching out through emails and talking to research like heads at MedStar, and that slowly just integrated me into finding the right person to talk to. So
okay. That's awesome. Do you think you're very interested in the hands-on part of medicine, or do you think you're more backroom?
Definitely. I feel like the backroom stuff, I know it's not always avoidable, but I feel like that can be more boring. And the fun part is actually talking to patients, seeing like what their lives look and answering their questions.
Yeah. Well, this is exciting because I think you might be exactly the kind of person we need. You're thoughtful, but you're not having trouble communicating how you think and feel, which I think maybe, I don't want to be insulting, but like I think sometimes there's some doctors who struggle in the communication portion.
Yeah.
You could be a good balance of those things. It's exciting to hear. What has your experience been with your physicians and your outcomes? So I want to know, you're 3 years into this. I guess I should just ask you, like, what's your A1C? What's your variability like?
Yeah, my A1C is at a 5.5 last May, which I know is pretty good. And I think that I attribute a lot of that also to my parents and kind of all my doctors, that especially like my endocrinologist, who whenever I need an adjustment to my ratio, my insulin carb ratios and all of that stuff,
mm-hmm.
like he's pretty on top of it. And my parents are obviously the biggest help in the world. So
yeah, so the doctor's good about keeping your settings moving with your needs, which is awesome. And when I find when people struggle, it's mainly because their settings aren't keeping up with what their needs are. And then your parents are very involved. What does that mean?
My mom has always helped me carb count, especially when I'm at home, and let's say for breakfast, I have a pretty similar breakfast every day, but sometimes I'll have a bagel, and my mom will text me when I get out of the shower and tell me dose 80 or dose 25 for a piece of toast, mm-hmm. or whatever breakfast is, whatever she made for me that morning. And it allows me to dose before I eat to give a little bit of time for that insulin to start working. And it just takes a little bit of stress off me. And same thing with my dad, who's always on top of the making sure I have the right equipment and I'm not running out of supplies. And he always helps me change my pod if I need help with that. You're
aware that they're doing those things because they tell you they're doing them, or you are aware of those things needing to be done and you're seeing that it's being facilitated and handled by them? You know what I mean? Like, are they
Yeah, well, both, because, I don't know all the background stuff with my dad kind of talking about getting supplies, but
mm-hmm.
he explains them to me. And then I see both of them always helping me like dose the right amount or tell me what to do. Yeah.
Without all that pre-bolusing, you're not getting an A1C in the fives. I'm assuming you eat like a regular kid.
I mean, I try to eat healthier,
mm-hmm.
but I'm conscious about it, but I'm not on a keto diet.
Okay. What level is your Judaism? Are you eating differently on the weekends for religious reasons? No, not to that level.
Yeah,
okay.
Not at that level.
Okay. Could you do it by yourself?
Yeah, I'm very independent when it comes to when my parents are around. They love, like, they help me as much as they can. But I went to summer camp for 7 years, but I was diagnosed for only 3 of those years. And that's without my parents. I go for 8 weeks. I'm in the middle of the woods and I'm fully self-sufficient when I go up there. The first year it was like probably 3 or 4 months after I got diagnosed. So I had a little bit more help from the nurses and the staff. But by the time I got to my last year at camp, I was kind of doing everything myself.
Okay. But you were willing to admit that your mom and your dad with the pre-bolusing, like that really does take a level of concern away from you. Is that right?
Yeah. And it takes also like a level of thought. Like high school is a lot. And also diabetes adds a lot more complex situations, and having just something in the morning when I'm worried about a test that I have first or second period, or a big homework assignment that I forgot to do last night, just having them take that little bit of like thinking off my mind just helps so much.
You don't mind being told, I mean, for lack of a better phrase, like you don't mind being told what to do, being led?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to this stuff, I trust my parents, obviously. When I have people that don't really know much about diabetes trying to tell me what to do, and I know that I know more than them, it does get a little bit frustrating. But I feel like there's rare situations, because I feel like most people are good at recognizing when they're a little bit out of place and telling me how to manage myself.
Yeah. So a couple years from now, you're out with that girl that we made up.
Yeah.
And your mom texts you and says, don't forget to bolus extra for popcorn. You're not going to be like, oh my God, like, lady.
Well, I probably would, because as soon as I leave the house, I don't get texts from my parents at all about my diabetes.
Okay.
I'm completely self-managed. Just only when I'm around the house and they're there to help me, they do an amazing job.
How did they figure out the pre-bolusing thing? Is that from doctor? Is that from me? Is that like from experience? Where did they figure that out?
At first, it was definitely from doctors. But then over time, I think experience was the best thing that they learned from, because I like to keep my breakfast kind of consistent, for example. And over, like, they'll see how my body reacts. And I know, let's say before I go to my finals week, every morning I'll have the same breakfast, because I know how my body will react. And my parents have figured that out to the science, basically. So yeah, I feel experience has helped them the most within that.
Okay. Yeah. Did they have any background in diabetes, or is it just that they threw themselves into it and figured it all out?
Yeah, they threw themselves in and figured out this. I mean, that first year, I mean, it was just probably just straight learning. So they didn't, we didn't know anything about it really. Okay. Before I got diagnosed.
Awesome. That's lovely of them to put their effort into it like that. Do you think your siblings are at all concerned that they might get type 1 one day?
I don't know. I haven't talked to them much about it, but I hope that they would not be concerned at all, because they see that I'm a normal kid. It didn't completely change like who I am. So hopefully that will give them confidence that no matter like what, if they get diagnosed or not, that it won't change their life 100%.
Yeah. Do they treat you differently, or no?
Still get blamed for everything. And yeah, there's not really been a change in that.
They don't treat you differently. That's great. Do you think that there is any resentment from them that you get your parents' attention so much?
Probably not, because, well, my parents do a very good job of making sure they don't put me at the center of the attention always. So especially because I feel like if they need to, they know I can self-manage myself as much as I need. Yeah. And so they can spend equal amount of time with all of us.
I'd be so interested to ask your siblings that question.
Yeah, I wonder what they would say.
Yeah, they'd be like, oh my God, they're always talking to him about something.
Yeah.
My mom doesn't even look at me. She just looks at him. Are you the oldest too?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, you're the oldest and you're a boy. They probably already hate you. You know what I mean? Because they're probably like, oh, mom thinks he's a prince. Wait till you get older and you find out. I'm bringing it up for fun, but also because I think as you get older, you should be aware of that to some degree. that no matter how balanced your parents are, at some point it's possible that your siblings are going to just see like, oh, we were always talking about diabetes.
Yeah.
And it's going to, even if it's not true, it could feel that way to them. Yeah, it's a little thing from me to you. Just keep an eye on it. Don't worry about it. Although you don't seem like a worrier about anything. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
You don't have any anxiety, right?
No, I've got like a goldfish mentality. If something bad happens, learn from it, move on.
Yeah.
Or forget about it, move on.
So your mom's not anxious?
She's definitely more anxious than me or my dad, but I think that's just because she cares, which makes sense.
Is she just like a mom anxious, or is she like...
I think it's definitely a mom anxious thing.
Not like I think mom should take a pill. Not that level.
Yeah, no.
No, gotcha. All right. How old are your parents? Do you know?
They're both in their 50s.
Oh, my God.
Or my mom's in her 40s. My dad's in her 50s. Sorry.
So old. Yeah, geez. Your grandparents alive?
Yeah, I'm lucky to have all four of them still.
Very nice. Did they have any understanding of your diabetes, or how does that work with them?
It definitely took a lot more explaining to them because they really knew a lot less, especially with the like new technology with Dexcoms. Like all they know is like finger pricking and insulin shots. So explaining to them how all that worked was new for them. Mm-hmm. But we basically had the same level of understanding before I got diagnosed, and just I try to teach them as much as I can whenever they have questions.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I think there's a cutoff. I haven't reached it yet, but I'm scared of when I get to it, when the world, that age you get to when you're just like, you know what, I know all the stuff I care to know about.
Yeah.
I hope I don't get that way. I try to keep up with music. I try to keep up with technology as best I can, how society's seeing things, you know, like how politics is changing. Like it's, you know, like all of that. I try my hardest, but I know I'm going to get to an age where one day I'm just like, I don't care. It was better than when I was young, and then I'll just never think about it again. And just, just off and die. You know what I mean? Yeah. So hopefully a ways from now. Do you curse, Eli?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to drop F-bombs on every sentence, but I don't like care.
It could happen, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm happy about that. You seemed a little too perfect. So
I'm trying to be professional, you know?
No, you're doing a good job. Don't worry. I know you put something in your notes I want to ask you about still, but let me ask you a couple more questions about being young.
Okay.
Drugs? Do you see a lot of drugs?
Yeah. I mean, I go to parties a lot, and it's definitely like alcohol and drugs are definitely a big part of it.
What are you seeing right now? Weeds everywhere, Eli. I'm assuming that.
Definitely.
But are you seeing cocaine? What else are you seeing?
No. Not definitely. I mean, I don't know about college or anything, but at least in where I'm from and what I've seen within my school, like that's not a thing at all. And neither are any other like super harsh drugs like that.
You're not seeing pills or stuff?
No, definitely not.
Nobody's using heroin, but like, well, no, you're laughing, but you know.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's just weird to think about, like, because it's just not something we even like consider.
You're not seeing it, but weed.
Yeah,
everyone's got weed. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest drug there is out.
Is it legal where you are?
Yeah, it's legal in DC and Maryland.
Okay. Oh, that's the area you're in. Okay. Do your parents? I'm not asking you if you smoke weed, but generally speaking, do your friends' parents know that they're smoking weed? I
would say my closest friends don't at all. So their parents obviously like don't know that they don't know.
I love you protecting everybody, Eli. Good job. Now the people I know don't do it, but you're talking about other people, Scott. No, yeah, sure. Those other people, Eli, that I'm talking about. Do you think their parents know?
I don't know, because I feel like they wouldn't necessarily talk about it, and if they get in trouble, then maybe they would. Like, I don't know if they would stop, but I feel like they wouldn't go out publicizing like that. Their parents found out they caught them smoking in the basement or something.
Yeah. Drinking is a big thing, or no?
It's definitely bigger than smoking.
Mm-hmm. For you, in your group.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, is that a thing your parents have talked to you about? That they go up to you and say, look, we expect at some point you're going to intersect alcohol, and here's how it works with diabetes?
Yeah. As soon as I like started talking about seeing it at parties, like freshman year, they immediately started doing research on it and making sure that when I came across it, I know how to like react to it and how to be safe with it. Mm-hmm. And I had to talk with my endocrinologist about it also to understand more of the science behind it, which was really helpful.
Okay.
So it was definitely a huge topic that was brought up.
And you know, glucagon may be less effective when you're drunk, right?
Yeah. Okay. I know about all the effects it has on the liver. It delays insulin's ability to work. And the long list of things that it does to you.
Diabetes took the fun right out of beer, didn't it?
Yeah, I know. I got to avoid those high carby drinks if I wanted to.
You're like, oh, I thought this was going to be fun, but now I know more about how the liver works. So this,
yeah,
not as much fun as it could have been. Okay. All right. That's interesting. I appreciate this. What have I not asked you about that I should have? And then I want to look here in your notes before we get to that. You wrote something, advocacy projects. So tell me about that.
Yeah.
You're doing type 1 advocacy. Let's go to that.
Yeah. I've been working with Breakthrough T1D. I started kind of last spring where they have a walk across the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to all the funds kind of go towards researching for a cure. And I was able to raise, I think it was around $18,000 between reaching out to people I know and connections to help fundraise all of that. And that led me to this program in T1D called the Champions Program,
mm-hmm.
which is something that I just started this fall, where there's it's like a leadership that is organized by area across the country. So I'm part of the Mid-Atlantic region.
Mm-hmm.
So there's kind of 8 youth ambassadors, and my title is one of those. And that's kind of something like inspires me to push on, like within leadership within my own type 1 diabetes community around me.
Wow. That's really lovely. How did you get involved in that? You just want to go to one of the walks, and then it all kind of came out of that?
I was like researching with my parents about what I can do to raise awareness or anything. And then Breakthrough T1D is always the first thing that pops up. So we were like looking through their website. We see that they have walks and that you can fundraise and apply to be a fundraiser. So we did that, not knowing how far it would actually be able to take me into like this program and leadership like roles.
$18,000 is an effort on your part. You were working hard on collecting those donations, it sounds like.
Yeah. And I mean, also after my parents had helped me a lot also.
Yeah, they got some friends with better jobs than your friends, huh?
Yeah.
What have we not talked about that we should have? What seems like if you listen back to this, you'd say, oh, I can't believe I didn't get to this. This is important.
I think one of like the more like defining events I always think about when people ask like, what is like the worst experience you had with type 1 diabetes or what's the most frustrating thing, was my Canadian backcountry trip. So that was a trip that I took when I was 15, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to my sleepaway camp. When you're the oldest camper, you get to go on this 10-day canoeing trip and backcountry trip through the Quetico National Park, which is right near the Boundary Waters up in Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Okay.
On that trip, we probably spent a month thinking about everything that could possibly go wrong with my supplies. I had 2 bags, one on separate canoes in case one person flipped and I lost everything. And we had a backup plan for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And besides that, it's a pretty hard trip. We're canoeing for 13 hours a day, and we have portages that are miles long and heavy gear, heavy tents. So adding on top of how hard it was, I had to obviously deal with my diabetes, which I wasn't afraid of at all. But on day 2, I dropped, at this point, I still had a PDM, like where Omnipod wasn't on the phone yet.
Yeah.
And I dropped my PDM on a rock and it shattered. I was like, okay, I was as calm as possible. I went to go open we had a backup PDM. So I went to go open it. I had this sheet with all my ratios to set a new one up. And I open it, I type in my password, and it says, you need connection to set this up, which is, I think, the one possible thing me and my parents didn't think of, because we're in the middle of nowhere. We have to use satellite phones to reach back to anyone.
Right.
And at this point now, there's no way to put a new pod on. So I have to go to manual daily injections for the first time since probably, 3 months after I was diagnosed.
Okay.
And I knew how to take care of myself, but it still was a little bit shocking. And it was like a very harsh reality. Like, this is going to make this 100 times harder.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I was extremely frustrated because I have to stop every 5 minutes. Like, if I need to give myself a shot, and we would stop for less than 15 minutes to eat because the mosquitoes were insane. So we had to hurry up, and I had to give myself a shot when we wanted to eat, which would take time. I felt like I was taking away from the group. But I'm lucky that I had such a great community. Like those guys who went on the trip with me are still my best friends today.
Yeah.
And the staff was very helpful, and the way the camp handled it was amazing because they let me continue on the trip. There were talks about having to use a seaplane to evac me, but I said that I wanted to do this. I'm like, there's no way you're taking me out of this trip.
Yeah.
So my friends made it possible to not completely lose my mind. And because I feel like my camp friends, because I live with them for 8 weeks a year, they understand my diabetes probably the best because they hear my alarms through the night and they understand just how it works a little bit more than other people.
Sure.
They were trying to help me as much as I can. They understood that it's going to take me a little bit longer to do everything. I would say my blood sugar was a little bit more chaotic after that. It was harder to keep it 100% in range, especially working with basal and bolus, because like I'd be so tired after a long day. I'd get back, I'd just fall asleep, and sometimes I'd forget to do my basal, which is obviously horrible. And then I'd wake up in the middle of the night and wake up the entire camp. My alarms, I'd feel like a burden, but my friends kept like reminding me that that's not like we are, like they understand, like what happened. So
wow, man, you met a lot of nice people in your life so far. It's all right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if everyone can say that.
No, I don't think everybody can. I think it's incredibly fortunate. Also, I'd be willing to adopt you as long as your parents kept doing the financial stuff, because I think you're pretty great. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to pay for college is what I'm saying. Like, you're definitely going to college. I can't thank you enough for doing this. Like, this was really well done by you, and I'm so happy you reached out. I'm super impressed, obviously, by everything you said here today. I think we'd all be happy if our kids were like as together as you are. I love that you don't really know why. It just is sort of how you are, you know?
Yeah.
I wish you a ton of luck. I hope that keeps going for you. I think it will. I also think,
thank you.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. I also believe you could easily be an endocrinologist if you wanted to be. I think if you go that route, I think you're going to see a lot of the stuff that you said about AI come true. You know, I think there's a world where already there's products where, you know, people are going into their doctor's offices and just being recorded while they're talking, and then the notes are done automatically for the doctor. These notes are being saved and piled up on top of each other, visit after visit. I think one day that AI is going to go back in and be looking for other concerns or ideas that maybe adjustments or maybe other issues that, you know, cumulatively these conversations over time maybe will shine a light on. I think you're going to see algorithms, not just like the ones you're using now, you know, get better and better, and maybe lean more on, who knows, maybe, you know, visual carb counting from AI. Maybe it's going to be, you know, AI making adjustments to settings on the fly. Who knows? But I think the world's going to look a lot different for people with diabetes in the next 20 years. And it sounds like you might be involved in it. And it sounds more like you're going to be a good choice for that. So I hope that all works out for you the way you're hoping.
Yeah, me too. I'm doing everything I can to make that a reality.
Yeah. And you're not pressured. Like, you don't feel like an amazing amount of pressure about this either, right? It's just the thing you're doing.
Yeah. I think it's just, I don't get fazed by pressure.
Yeah. If we could bottle Eli's vibe, we could sell it. Seriously. And yeah, good for you, brother. All right. Well, I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I don't hear enough positive stories sometimes. So this one's awesome. Just going to say goodbye and thanks. And hold on 1 second for me. I'd like to talk to you a little bit after the recording's over. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Dexcom sponsored this episode of the Juicebox Podcast. Learn more about the Dexcom G7 at my link, dexcom.com/juicebox. A huge thanks to AG1 for sponsoring this episode of the podcast and for letting us know about AGZ. That's right, today they introduced AGZ, a nighttime drink designed to support restful, restorative sleep with clinical studied key ingredients including adaptogens, herbs, and minerals. AGZ is a melatonin-free formula that supports the body's natural sleep cycle. Use my link, drinkag1.com/juicebox to get started right now. This episode of the Juicebox Podcast is sponsored by Omnipod 5. Omnipod 5 is a tube-free automated insulin delivery system that's been shown to significantly improve A1C and time in range for people with type 1 diabetes when they've switched from daily injections. Learn more and get started today at omnipod.com/juicebox. At my link, you can get a free starter kit right now. Terms and conditions apply. Eligibility may vary. Full terms and conditions can be found at omnipod.com/juicebox. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back very soon with another episode of the Juicebox Podcast. If you're not already subscribed or following the podcast in your favorite audio app like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please do that now. Seriously, just to hit follow or subscribe will really help the show. If you go a little further in Apple Podcasts and set it up so that it downloads all new episodes, I'll be your best friend. And if you leave a 5-star review, I'll probably send you a Christmas card. Would you like a Christmas card? If this is your first time listening to the Juicebox Podcast and you'd like to hear more, download Apple Podcasts or Spotify, really any audio app at all. Look for the Juicebox Podcast and follow or subscribe. We put out new content every day that you'll enjoy. Want to learn more about your diabetes management? Go to juiceboxpodcast.com up in the menu and look for Bold Beginnings, the Diabetes Pro Tip series, and much more. This podcast is full of collections and series of information that will help you to live better with insulin. The episode you just heard was professionally edited by Wrong Way Recording, wrongwayrecording.com.